And I thought I would start with this. I didn't plan on this, but Rick Rickadall is a dear friend of mine, and you may not know his name, but you certainly know his work. He was in charge of franchise films for DreamWorks for 22 years. He was Steven Spielberg's right-hand man, and he sent me this beautiful note, and he ended with, "Your deepest Carolina roots is where you draw your strength, your energy, and your power, and is a testament to your amazing work." And that is so true. I love being from North Carolina. It made me who I am. And in case you're wondering, and I know it's all right if there's a few spattering of booze, but I am a Tar Heel, so. I'd like to say before I get really into what I really want to say, but I just want to say that how honored I am, first of all, to be going in with these honorees. This music has been amazing, and I'm sitting out there going, okay, this is how I could cover that, and this is how I could do that with that song. But yeah, just amazing. Just what I've heard tonight is incredible. But I am truly, truly honored to be going in to this Hall of Fame with my buddy Luke Combs. When I saw him for the first time, I was like, man, I'm gonna help you. I am all in, and he blew up faster than I could help him, so I can't have any credit for it. But also with him tonight is his manager, who is my brother from another mother, Cappy. And he is one of my dearest friends. Both of them are, and I just am blessed that we are going together. And I just want to say, as great as they are as a manager and a musician, they are better people. I'd like to also do a shout out, even though he's not here tonight. This artist was very influential in me being here tonight, and that is the Chief, Eric Church. First time I met Eric, the first year I had him on the CMA Awards, I wasn't able to meet him. I had an issue with some copy with Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood that I had to go take care of in the opening monologue, and so I didn't get to meet him. But the second year we were there, and his manager was like, "You haven't met Eric yet," and I'm like, "No." So I went up, and he was in chief mode, with the glasses and all and everything. And so I'm like, "Hey, I'm executive producer," and he kind of looks over at me. And then he was like, and I'm like, "Man, I'm a Tar Heel, and we have a son. Our sons are named Boone, because he has a son named Boone. I have a son named Boone." And then he took up glasses off, and it was like, then we were best friends. And then like 3 days later, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Let's go to a Carolina game." And so we've been at Carolina games, and we've done so many things together, and he is such a good friend. But I will tell you, even though he was influential in this, and we've done so many things, the greatest gift that he ever gave me was my friendship with Alan and Pam Wilson, who are here tonight. Thank you for you both being here. I love you. You're family to me. And the greatest gift that they have given me, that Eric has given me. I'd also like to recognize, we have a squad of people here tonight that we do life with, and if you're lucky enough to have people like that you can do life with and share all the ups and downs, and we travel together. We've been all over the world together, and that is my brother and sister-in-law, Trent and Bethany. And Bethany is, listen, I'm going to tell you, don't cross me, because she's little, but she is mighty, and she has got my back. And then the best friends that I could ever have, who are always there and supportive and let me fly and just do my thing, and just are so supportive, and that is Robert and Julie Clinton. And then, of course, my dear friend and my manager, Greg Ham, and his wife, Pam. And Pam's probably the one that gets me the most. She knows I'm a little out there a little bit. She understands me so much, and I love her. I love them both dearly. When you receive an honor like this, it makes you think. One other thing that I forgot to say. So, thank you to my executive assistant, Nikki Deaton, who has gotten us here and just been and helped with the sizzle and everything. And I always say, try to hire people that are smarter than you, and I did a good job on that one because she's way smarter than I am. When you receive an honor like this, though, it makes you think about and reflect on the people that got you here. It's like I haven't really given too much thought about the work, but I've thought about the people. And it starts with my mom and dad. I mean, they were both in theater in Wilmington, North Carolina. My dad was on, as you saw, was on WCTV6. He had 3 television shows. One is still on the air to this day, which is Carolina in the Morning on Channel 6. And then he had a Friday night country music show and a Saturday morning kid show. And I was a child performer on those shows. And so I was always around. I was 5 years old, y'all, hanging out with Buck Owens and Jerry Lee Lewis. And I was the kid that, I remember the first time, this is so stupid, but I remember the first time I was with, I think it was backstage with Buck Owens, and he had this guitar case with all this fur in the inside, and I'm like, I've never seen a guitar case like that. Oh my God. And so I was that little kid that was always around, but I was used to getting home from school, doing homework, go to the station and rehearse. And that's what I did every day. And so I grew up in a TV station. My wife and I, we were in the car one day, and a song came on. Y'all know the song, well, I ain't got a barrel of money, maybe we're ragged and funny. So I start singing along. It's like, how do you know that song? I'm like, well, we had a little routine when I was on TV, and I did that on, so we were always doing routines and coming up with songs and doing things on TV, and so it wasn't it was an accident of where I ended up being. Then, like I said, went to Nashville. I knew from the 4th grade exactly what I wanted to do with my life. 4th grade, which is great, but it's also like, you miss a little bit when you're doing that, because you're just like, come on, let's get done with this school. I got things to do. And I felt like that since the 4th grade. Let's go. I got to go. And so I graduated from high school, and the next day at 9 o'clock in the morning, my car was packed, and I drove to Nashville. Got to Nashville, worked at WKRN, and then I worked on every shoot that I could possibly be on. Just everything. You could pay me pizza. I don't care, whatever. I want to be there. I want to be on the shoot. I want to learn. And then I met a guy named George Flanagan. We started Deaton Flanagan Productions, and we did 300, 400 music videos for everybody, but Justin Bieber, Kid Rock, everybody in country. And so we created Monday Night Football, and we were blessed to win 2 national Emmys for that. And then I got on the CMA board and went in, and honestly what happened there with the board and how I got into big event television was I was just trying to contribute. All these great people that were on that board and legendary people, that a lot of them are in the Country Music Hall of Fame now. And so I saw this little thing that we were doing called Fanfare, and I thought, well, that could be a television property. And that is the way that I could give back to this organization. So I figured out a format for that. When it pitched to CBS, they bought it on its site. I really didn't know that I was going to end up producing it, but they asked me to produce it, which at the time I really didn't know what I was doing. But we did it anyway, and so that's been on the air now for over 20 years. Then I created CMA Country Christmas, and then eventually, then got the CMA Awards, which I think this next year I think is my 20th year doing the CMA Awards. It's a blessing. I get to work with these artists, and I get to work with music, and I've always been good at visually singing music, and now then I've transitioned into making albums and working on the as a producer and that, and there are different people in your life that can do little things and say little things that stay with you forever. And the one thing that I remember when I moved to Fayetteville, after leaving Wilmington, I had a dear man who was a family friend, church friend. He was also my coach. And one year, and I was little. I was still little. I mean, it was like I was on his baseball team, and I was talking about this. This other kid that was so good, and he said, I would take one of you over 5 of him. I'm like, why? I don't understand why. And he goes, because you care more. And I decided right then and there, nobody's going to care more than me, and nobody is going to work harder than me. Mm-hmm. And it's like there are people that are a lot more talented than me, but what he told me, that's when I decided, then no one's going to outwork me and no one's going to care more. And that man's name was Ed Brown. He passed away a few years ago, but his daughter and my sister is here, Cheryl Brown, and I wanted to thank you and Marquita for being here tonight as well. Then over COVID, when we were all of us were coming out of COVID, and we didn't know if life was ever going to come back to normal. I had a friend named Mary Hilliard who manages Dirks Bentley and the Black Keys and a lot of other people, and she's like, "Are you doing lunches? Please." We were coming out. I was like, "Are you doing lunches?" I'm like, "I'll do, yes." And over lunch, we were just talking, and she's like, "I'm just so glad to be able to talk to someone and be in a restaurant and eat." And she's like, "What can we do together?" And I was like, I don't know. Low-hanging fruit is, why don't we do a New Year's Eve show from Nashville? And she's like, "That's a great idea." So I wrote that out, and we pitched it to CBS, and now we're in our 4th year with New Year's Eve Live, Nashville's Big Bash. So I saved, my wife was like, "You're not going to cry, are you?" I'm like, "I might." I talked to Garth the other day. I saw my wife is, Garth Brooks, that is. I'm name dropping now. I was talking to Garth, and I'm like, "My wife thinks I'm going to cry." And he goes, "That's all right, you can cry." And I'm like, "I know, you cry all the time. Every time you're on TV, you cry." So there are 2 people that I'm not standing here tonight without them in my life. And that is my friend and manager, Greg Ham. I love you. I don't know where you are, Greg, if you're in your seat or backstage. There he is. Brother, we have had a time, haven't we? We have had a time. We have been everywhere doing work together. Dublin, Ireland, England, all over the world, these shows. He's the one that changed my she's the one that came in 15 years ago and said, "You know what, I want to manage you," and he changed everything. And there's nobody that I look up to more than Greg Ham. Nobody that I cherish friendship more than Greg Ham. And going through this life, and people know this, I work, this is all I do. Okay? I don't golf, I don't play tennis, I don't do anything. This is what I do 24 all the time. And I'm always trying to come up with ideas. And brother, thank you for being on this journey with me. I love you. The second one is my wife. I would not be here, I'm telling you. I know people say that all the time, but this is the truth. I would not be here without Susan D. Before we were married, we were, I was going through a rough time, and we were having dinner, and she said, "Wait, stop. You know you're not like everybody else, right? You know that." I'm like, "I did not know that." She goes, "You're not like everybody else. And God's blessed you with this gift of being able to see music, being able to hear, being able to make people laugh or cry or whatever it is with your visuals. And what you do and how you produce records and all that, you are different." She also lifts me up. she calls herself, I'm the balloon and she's the string. And it's a good thing that there's a string there, because she says if there wasn't, I'd just float off into somewhere. But she also understands what it takes for me to do this. So when I'm in a production and we're 6 weeks out, nobody gets to me. You don't really want to be around me at that point anyway. So, but no, she knows I have to, it's 100% all the time unless I'm sleeping. And most of the time I'm only sleeping 2 or 3 hours a night, because I am striving for excellence. It's the most important thing. And to lift up these artists that I want to work with, that I love and take care of. And I want to have a servant's heart for them. You know, and God put that in my heart to have a servant's heart for them. So she understands what that takes. And thank you. So without her, you know, that support is just, you can't put a price on it. So I know I've talked too long, way too long. If I was backstage producing, I'd be screaming at the TV, going, get off the stage, get off the stage. It's like Little Big Town one year. They had to hug everybody in the room before they got to it. It took them 2 minutes to get to stage, and I am going crazy. But so now I know what it feels like. But I'm going to close with 2 things. I have 2 favorite lyrics in a song, in 2 different songs. The first lyric, this is a shout out again to my wife, and Jimmy Webb. The great Jimmy Webb, who I was able to, yes, thank you. You can applaud for Jimmy Webb. By the time I get to Phoenix, Wichita Lineman, and I got to work with him twice. He wrote a song in Wichita Lineman, and this line goes to my wife, and the line in Wichita Lineman is, it goes like this, where I can find my notes. And I need you more than I need you more than want you. And I want you for all time. And so, and then the second song is, you know, I tell people, I was back. I'm gonna go just a tiny bit longer. I promise. I'll get off. You don't have to come over and stand. I'll get off. I was backstage. I was at a Hall of Fame event for the Country Music Hall of Fame in LA, and we were doing a guitar pull. And we had Vince Gill and James Taylor and Chris Stapleton and Joe Walsh and Casey Musgraves. Wow. And I got to the event, and they're like, "Oh yeah, come backstage." I didn't have credentials or nothing. I mean, it's like, "Yeah, you go through here." Vince is. I'm like. I went backstage, and they're like, they're in there. And I'm like, who's in there? And they're like, all the artists. And I'm like, I still don't know who this person is. And she said, no, go in, all the artists. I'm like, no, I'm good. She's like, no, Vince is in there, and he wanted to see you. So I go in there and see Vince Gill. First thing I said, I've never met James' brother. I'm from North Carolina. I've never met James Taylor. And if you're from North Carolina, you love James Taylor and you love Andy Griffith. And I got to meet James, and I got to hang out with James Taylor, and I was a kid and just like, oh my God. I was like, because I could still get that way. But I think a line in James Taylor's song, Carolina in My Mind, which has got me through being homesick when I first got to Nashville. There's a line in there is really, I think, sums up how I feel about tonight. And the line is, ain't it just like a friend of mine that hit me from behind? Yes, I'm going to Carolina in my mind. And that's the best feeling in the world. When a person pats you on the back, or a friend pats you on the back. And for me, this honor, what it means is, you did a good job, kid. Thank you very much.
Robert Deaton, everyone. Thank you, Robert. Everything you've done, the amazing productions in every genre and more to come. Wow.